Hi everyone, welcome to this video looking at Venn diagrams, which is new to the GCSE. This video is going to look at the construction of a Venn diagram, and in a separate video I'll be looking at set notation that's used within Venn diagrams to identify certain groups of students or whatever might be the question's data set. So I've got a couple of questions to go through. We're going to start with a relatively easy one and we'll build up to something a bit more complicated. Here is some information about 100 students. 60 of them study French, 36 Spanish, 14 don't study French or Spanish. Draw a Venn diagram to show this information. So the starting point for any Venn diagram is to identify how many interlocking circles we want, and each circle represents part of or a group of the available data set. So here we've got students that study French and we've got students that study Spanish. So we're going to have two interlocking circles. So I'm going to draw my first circle and I'm going to draw my second circle, and I'm going to label one of them as the French students and one of them as the Spanish students. And then our first bit of kind of understanding here is this element in here where the circles overlap. If you think about, we're talking about the French circle, everyone inside this circle studies French, whether they're here or they're here. And then on the other side, everyone inside this circle studies Spanish, whether they're here or here. So this element here is French students and Spanish students. So we have the overlapping element. Okay, so we've got 60 students that study French. So in total inside this circle, we're going to have 60. We don't know whether they're going to be in here or they're going to be in here or they're going to be split between them, because we've got two different sections within that circle. So we know there's going to be 60 in here in total, but we don't know how to split them yet. We've got 36 that study Spanish, so again, for the same reasons, we're going to have 36 in total between these two sections, but we don't know how we're going to split them up. What we do know, however, is that 14 students do not study French or Spanish. So 14 students can't appear in this circle or in this circle, so we place them outside, usually in the bottom right-hand corner. So those 14 represent the ones that don't study either of the languages. Okay, no other information to go from, so let's work backwards from there. So we started with 100 students, and if we can take away 14 of them because they don't study any languages at all, that leaves us with 86 students. Now these two circles, therefore, must have 86 students inside them in total. So 1, 2, 3 sections must total 86. Let's see what our students from the original question total. So we've got 60 plus 36, 60 plus 36, well that's 96 students, and we know there can only be 86 in there. So 96 in total in these two circles, but only 86 should be in there. So the difference between them, so 96 subtract 86, must be those that study both languages, because then they can be duplicated, because they can appear both in the French students and in the Spanish students. So we can place 10 students in the middle. Now we can go and we can complete the others. So if we've got 60 studying French in total, so this whole circle has to add up to 60. I've already got 10 students in this circle, so I must have another 50 in there, because that would give me my 60 in total. Same logic for the Spanish circle then. It's got to add up to 36 in total. I've already got 10 students in the circle, so 26 left was make my 36 in total. I now have 1, 2, 3, all 4 sections of my Venn diagram filled in. So there's my completed Venn diagram. And let's just do a little bit of checking to make sure that works. I should have 100 students in total inside this Venn diagram. So let's do a quick bit of maths there. We've got 50 here that study just French. We've got 10 here that study French and Spanish. We've got 26 here that study just Spanish. And we've got 14 here that don't study either of the languages. And if we're right, that should add up to our 100 students that were in this question. So 6 plus 4 is 10, so we write the 0, carry the 1. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We do have our 100 students. So there's your first completed Venn diagram based on the information we had in part A. Just very quickly, let's have a look at part B, because this is a traditional GCSE question where they link in some work to a Venn diagram. Work out the probability that a student picked at random studies French or Spanish or both. So it's giving us lots of options there. It could be a French-speaking student. Well, that's those 50 there. It could be a Spanish-speaking student. Well, that's those 26 there. Or they could study both of them. Well, that's those 10 there. So basically any student that isn't those 14 there. So we have 50 plus 10 plus 26. So there's 86 students that works for out of 100. So my part B answer is 86 out of 100. Or of course you could write that as a decimal equivalent or as a fraction equivalent. Okay, let's have a look at another Venn diagram question. Again, just learning how to construct them, but this one's going to be a bit more complicated in its design. So let's have a look here. There's 180 students at a college following a general course in computing. Students can then take 3 extra options, and there's a really important piece of information there because that's going to tell us probably how many circles we're going to want to have in our Venn diagram. So we can have system support, so that's one of the options. We can have developing software, that's another option. We could have networking, that's a third option. So there's our 3 options. We've then got combinations for developing software and system support, networking and developing software, system support and networking, or those people that took all of them. And then part A, draw a Venn diagram to represent all of this information. So let's see if I can put the Venn diagram in this space here so that you're going to be able to see it while we refer to the question. So first things first, we've got 3 options. So we're going to have 3 interlocking circles. So there's circle number 1, there's circle number 2, and as carefully as I can, there's circle number 3. Now let's just name them in the order that they're mentioned in the question. So we've got systems support, we'll call that one this here, system support. We've got developing software, let's call that one developing software. And we've got networking, so let's call that one networking. And then we've got our interlocking regions as well. So this region here is going to be system support and developing software. This region here is going to be system support and networking. This region here is going to be developing software and networking, and then the special region in here is where all 3 circles overlap, so that's going to be system support, developing software and networking. Regions in the circles outside these interlocking areas are just those options on their own, and outside the interlocking circles are those students that don't study anything at all. Now let's see what we can fill in. We've got 180 students in total in the college, so we know we're going to have to add up to 180 when we filled in all of our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sections. So 112 students take system support. So this circle here, 1, 2, 3, 4 sections, is going to have to add up to 112. But I can't do anything with that information yet because I don't know how it's split. 70 are in developing software. So again, those 4 sections are going to add up to 70, but I can't do anything with that yet. 81 take networking, so those 4 are going to add up to 81, but I can't do anything with that yet. 35 take developing software and systems support. So we've got 35 that take developing software and systems support. So we're going to be able to put 35 students in there. They don't say and also networking, so it's not like any of them have to go in there. So that's that piece of information done. 28 take networking and developing software. Networking and developing software, so we've got 28 in there. So that's that piece of information done. 40 take system support and networking, so that's going to go in there because it's system support and networking, so that's that bit of information. And then 4 take all 3 options, and that's going to be our special middle part there, so we've got 4 in there. So that's all of those bottom bits done, and now we can go back to filling in the sole options that don't include overlapping areas with anything else. So 112 take system support, which is this circle here. Now of those 112 we've already filled in 35, 4 and 40, so if we take all of those numbers away from the 112 we'll be left with the 33 students that just study system support on its own and nothing else. So that's that piece of information done. Now for the developing software, 70 students in total inside this circle here, which represents developing software. So if we add up the 35 and the 4 and the 28, we're left with 3 students which must have studied developing software on its own. And then 81 take networking. So this circle here in total, 1, 2, 3, 4 sections has to add up to 81. So if we add up our 40 and our 4 and our 28 and we take that away from our 81, we're left with 9 students that just study networking on their own. Finally then, we need to see if there's any students that don't study any of the extra options at all. So remember, it's got to add up to 180 in total. So we take our 33 and our 35 and our 3 and our 40 and our 4 and our 28 and our 9, and we add them all together, which gives us 152. Take that away from our 180, so we must have 28 students that didn't study any of the extra options. So there's our Venn diagram completed. Now we can look at this section underneath and answer some of these probability questions. So let's have a look then. A student from the course is chosen at random, so we're going to pick out one of the 180 students from this Venn diagram. Find the probability that this student takes none of the 3 extra options. Well, first things first, it's going to be out of 180 because there's 180 students that take the course. Now, which section in our Venn diagram refers to none of the options? This is system support, this is developing software, this is networking, so it has to be someone that's not inside any of those circles, so it has to be those 28 students outside there. So we've got 28 out of 180. Part C, those students that take networking only. So we refer to the networking circle. These students also take system support, it can't be them. These students also take developing software, so it can't be them. These students take system support and developing software as well as networking, so it can't be them. These are the only students that take just networking as an additional option, so it's going to be 9 out of 180 students. Let's have a look at this final question then. Students who want to become technicians take system support and networking. So let's have a look at that. System support and networking. So that's going to be these people in here. It doesn't say they also don't take developing software. So we're looking at this section here. So let's just highlight that. We're looking at this section here for system support and for networking. Given that a randomly chosen student wants to become a technician, find the probability that this student takes all 3 extra options. So we've got all of these students in here, and we want to know how many of them also take developing software, take the 3rd option. So there's 44 students in there, and of those 44, 4 of them also take developing software and therefore pick up all 3 extra options. I hope this video has made sense in how to construct a Venn diagram. We've had a look at one where there's been 2 options and there's one where there's been 3 options. There will be another video where we then look at the use of a Venn diagram to solve probability questions using set notation. Thanks for watching.